Every single year, a new name crashes the fantasy running back one party. 2024, Chase Brown and Devon Achane. 2023 was Rachaad White, Kyron Williams, and Raheem Mostert. 2022, it was Ramondre Stevenson and Tony Pollard. This is your cheat sheet for finding this year's breakout running back one. 4 running backs being drafted outside the top 12 in ADP that have a real shot at smashing expectations. And I'm rating each one with a 1 to 10 confidence scale. Let's get it. Let's start with Kenneth Walker, a guy who feels like he should have some running back one seasons on his resume, but honestly never has. And he's coming off a down year last year where he only played 11 games, but he did average over 16 points per game. And despite only averaging 3.8 yards per carry last year, this is an explosive, talented running back. He was still 13th in evaded tackles last year and 5th in juke rate. And to go along with that, he actually caught 46 passes in 11 games. But why I really think Walker could finally break out and be a running back one this year is this new offense with Klint Kubiak. According to Jacob Gibbs of Twitter, Kenneth Walker averaged 4.4 yards per carry on zone runs versus 3.8 yards per carry on non-zone runs. And on outside zone runs, that number goes up to 4.7 yards per carry. Last year in New Orleans, Klint Kubiak ran outside zones at the 3rd highest rate in the entire NFL, almost 50% of the time. This helped Alvin Kamara have his highest explosive rating since 2020. This is a perfect fit for a guy like Kenneth Walker who has that explosive home run ability on those outside zone runs. And if he maintains his pass catching that we saw last year, this is a guy who can absolutely easily enter the top 12 discussion. Now, that being said, I do worry a little bit about the pass catching because one thing Zach Charbonnet does do well is catch passes, and we don't know how this backfield is going to shake out with Kubiak. But I'm giving Kenneth Walker the edge here. I think he's the RB1. I think he's the more talented running back. And I think this year, finally, as long as he stays healthy, of course, this is the year he puts it together and finishes as a top 12 running back. So my confidence rating on Kenneth Walker finishing as a top 12 running back in 2025 is going to be an 8 out of 10. Now, a name I really didn't think would be on this list in 2025 is DeAndre Swift, because myself and almost everybody thought the Bears would draft a running back. And I guess they did draft a running back in the 7th round, almost the end of the draft when they draft Kyle Monangai. But I'm not really worried about Monangai coming in here and taking significant touches from DeAndre Swift. Swift is coming off a season where he had 253 carries, 42 receptions, and 6 touchdowns. Now, unfortunately, those 253 carries didn't result in much because he couldn't even reach 1,000 yards on those 253 carries because he was running behind one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. But what did the Bears do this offseason? They really bolstered that offensive line. This is not going to be like the best offensive line in the NFL, but it's going to be one of the above average, better offensive lines. Not only that, they signed offensive guru Ben Johnson to be the head coach and to call the offense and call the plays. This is going to be a better offense with a better offensive line. Also, Swift, who was known as Glass earlier in his career, and we even did a thumbnail where I called him Mr. Glass and made him breaking up like glass. He has been remarkably healthy over the last 2 years as he's only missed 1 game total over the last 2 seasons. So if Swift can stay healthy once again this year, if he can get similar volume to what he got last year, but now behind a better offensive line in a better offense, yeah, top 12 upside is certainly there for DeAndre Swift. Now, I'm not as confident about Swift as I am with Kenneth Walker because how many times have we, and by we, I mean me, been burned by DeAndre Swift? More than I'd like to admit, but you know what? Everything is there. The stars seem to be aligning for him this year. If he can't get it done this year, he's probably never going to get it done. So again, not going to put the confidence level as high as I did for Kenneth Walker, but I still think for Swift, I'm going to put it at a 6.5 out of 10. I certainly think the potential is there. Let's get a little deeper here with Brian Robinson Jr. Again, another team a lot of people thought was going to draft running back early were the Washington Commanders. And again, they waited till the 7th round to draft a running back who only played 1 game last year and is 24 years old. So basically, this is still Brian Robinson Jr.'s backfield. Now, admittedly, Brian Robinson Jr. has never been great. He's had his moments where he's looked like an RB1, but then he kind of like has his moments where he's not really helping your fantasy team very much. But we did see last year he had his most efficient season of his 3-year career, which just happened to coincide with the fact that he got a mobile QB. Because that's what mobile QBs do for running backs. They make the lanes open more and easier to run through. Now, on the flip side, a couple of the issues here for Brian Robinson Jr. are 2 things. Number 1, this guy has missed at least 2 games or more of every year of his career. And number 2, he doesn't catch a lot of passes. He's never once reached 40 receptions. And with Austin Eckler there, he probably won't do it again this year. And Jaden Daniels not really a check down type of quarterback. But if he can stay healthy and if he can maintain that efficiency and if he sees more touchdowns in this running game, there is a path to top 12 upside. But I will admit, I think top 12 for Brian Robinson is absolute ceiling here. I don't feel nearly as good about Brian Robinson reaching the top 12 as I do about the first two running backs. That said, I still love his value on underdog drafts going as the running back 29. I think that's an absolute steal in underdog drafts for a guy who could potentially be a high-end RB2 and will give you some RB1 weeks throughout the season. So while I don't feel super confident about him finishing as a top 12 running back, I'm going to give him a 4 out of 10 here. I do still like his value in underdog drafts, and I will go ahead and take shots on him. And if you also want to try to take down these tournaments and you're wondering what I'm talking about, go to underdogfantasy.com. Check out their best ball tournaments. These are draft-only tournaments where you can win potentially up to millions of dollars, like their flagship Best Ball Mania 6, which is going to make multiple millionaires in 2025. Just make sure when you do join, you join using promo code ENDGAME, because not only is that going to get you a free pick that you can use right away to win money, but you're also going to get up to $1,000 of bonus cash. And then there's Isaiah Pacheco. Pacheco was my pick last year to finish as an RB1 for the first time. And look, it was looking good for the first 2 weeks. He scored over 15 fantasy points each of the first 2 weeks. He was dominating the backfield, looking good. And then he suffered a devastating leg injury in week 3. And when he came back in week 13, he did not look nearly the same. And he never even reached 50% of the snaps as the Chiefs went on that run to the Super Bowl. But should be coming into 2025 fully healthy. Now, I'm a little bit worried here because they did re-sign Kareem Hunt. They also signed Elijah Mitchell to, in this backfield. So it's a little more crowded than it was last year. But Pacheco, when healthy, in my opinion, is by far the best running back in this group. But there's a worry that can he pull away from this running back group? If he can, there's definitely a path here because we've seen the last couple of years, the Chiefs have been more run heavy than they were previous years because their defense has gotten better. They're not in these shootout type of games, so they can rely on the running game more. That is good for Pacheco. Pacheco, also an adequate pass catcher. He's not going to catch 60, 70 passes, but he can get you to that 40 to 50 range, and we know the touchdown upside is certainly there for Pacheco. This is one of those guys I feel very polarized about. He can either be very good this year or very bad. I don't feel like there's any in between for Isaiah Pacheco. So with that being said, I'm going to take the easy way out. I'm going to cop out here, and I'm just going to say 5 out of 10, his chance of finishing as a top 12 running back. Either he's going to dominate or he's going to bust. Pretty much no in between with Isaiah Pacheco. But that being said, I will gamble on him at his ADP outside the top 30 running backs just in case he booms and doesn't bust. One of these guys could definitely be 2025's Chase Brown and finish as a running back 1. And if you draft him, you're probably winning your league. If you really want to win your league, you need to follow Fantasy Endgame all off season long because we're going to drop all the videos you need to dominate your draft and your league. You can find everything you need in this playlist right here.